So the other modification to a process we already have in place is regarding critiques. So for many of you at one-day shows where you may have a critique, typically that critique would have happened after prelims. But in the feedback that we got from a lot of our event partners was that it created this big gap in the middle of the day. And some people couldn't even go to critique because after prelims, they may have taken their kids and left before coming back for finals. So we've modified that for this year in a few cases. Typically in small regionals, there's probably going to be 3 or 4 of them, maybe 5, where during the day we'll have prelims, a meal break, which is typically 50 minutes to an hour, then finals, and critique will be after finals. It is a little bit of a different process because before you go to critique, the judges are actually going to see you 2 different times. Karl, tell me how that would impact you when you were teaching.
You know, what's good about it is, I don't know if I can be linear here. I myself always see more the second time anyway. I'm always surprised at how much I miss. And so the impression after the second time is going to be greater. I think the analysis from the judging perspective is going to be greater. I think the thing that we have to ask ourselves is, in some of these cases, the judge is going to switch captions. And so that offers a little bit of a logistic issue at the critique after finals. But I think ultimately the opportunity is greater that should outweigh the kind of hassle that's going to come with figuring that out. And they'll be at the tables, I'm guessing, from whatever they judged at finals, but it doesn't mean that you can't ask them something from prelims. Your first obligation at critique is to ask for clarification on anything you didn't understand. And then the next thing you do is you go to what your goal is. And in these smaller shows, the competitive goal is not an assumption. Some people are there just to make sure they offer a positive experience and use it as a recruiting tool. Say that at the beginning and then ask each one of those guys, and they'll have seen you twice, what is the next step for my kids? Some of you are learning to be better designers, better choreographers. In that case, what is the next step for me as a choreographer and a designer? After you've listened to the commentary on both ends. But everybody that's competitive, your most important thing that you do is, what is it going to take to get me into the next competitive neighborhood, to get me in with competitors beyond where I am right now? And that takes the authenticity that you're asking from the judge requires that you have listened to both prelims and finals commentary. It doesn't mean that you can't be productive without doing that, but it does put the obligation back on you at that point if you're serious about wanting this information. And then we're going to have another talk about critique later on, about how the judges have been challenged this year from the steering committee to be candid and honest. I don't mean cruel and I don't mean mean, but we're asking them to truly hold up the mirror to not just your strengths and vulnerabilities. And by going through, you and I both do a lot of these evaluation programs, and depending on where you go, sometimes you have instructors that come into these things and really what they're looking for is a congratulations and a pat on the back. And they're not really looking for someone to hold up the mirror and to be honest about strengths and vulnerabilities. And so if you're one of those people that are built that way, and I understand that was me when I was younger for sure, critique might not be productive for you. But if you're really serious about your competitive goals and you can point blank a judge and be ready for the answer, it is some of the most valuable information. And I think having the judge experience your performance twice is twice the productivity of it. You have a greater opportunity to mine gold in these situations where they've seen you twice, but you do have to be able to talk fast because you're still only going to have the same 3 minutes. And you have to listen to twice the amount of the commentary, and you got to be prepared and ready. And then you got to make sure that you're really ready to listen to their response. And then, it may mean that you don't have time to disagree or to try to convince them to think otherwise, but it's going to be a great reflection, I think. I think the opportunity in this is going to be really exciting, and I can't wait to see how it turns out. Again, like everything, there's probably going to be a little learning curve with this, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and one of the things we're going to do administratively is we know that in some cases groups may travel even 2-3 hours to get to a regional. So when people sign up for critique, yes, critique will be after you've performed. And we have to take a break after the show for the judges to finish numbers, etc. But we will put people on and critique based on who traveled the farthest to get there. So if you're a local group that's there, you might end up in your critique slot at the end of 45 minutes. But the people that are going to drive 2 or 3 hours on a bus, they'll be first in critique. So I think that that will help people, which means, to Karl's point, get your prelims tapes, make your notes, be ready to go. When finals comes, at least start listening to it, be in the hallway with the recording and listen to it, and be prepared when you go in. But that should help you a little bit as well.
Absolutely. Be your best advocate for your unit. It's your job.
Yeah. All right. Good luck, everybody. We'll be back soon. Take care. Continue having a great season. Bye now.